What's up, Manchester? How are you guys doing? Who's hungry? Yeah, I am. So last time when I did a TED Talk with these guys, I broke my foot, like literally right before the event started. And now today, I come before you having swallowed a beach ball, being 5 months pregnant. And it's been interesting as when any new parent comes into this realization that there's a human growing inside you, that you want to start thinking about what you can possibly do to give your kid the best, right? The best skills, the best knowledge, whatever you can do to basically make them a better human. And so, and like all parents, you start thinking about what kind of person am I going to be creating? And if she's anything like me, she'll be a lover of storytelling and will pick up a camera and follow it around and shoot everybody around her. If she's anything like her father, she will take apart computers. Then I thought about it, if she's really anything like her father, she'll be more like this. And then I think about, not just my baby, but how many other babies are out there that are all being born that look like this, and we stick an iPad or an iPhone in front of them, and we pat ourselves back on the back because they can, unlock our phones and start playing with games. The problem is these little babies turn into these little toddlers who turn into these little people, and then you turn into these things. And they just walk around staring at a screen. And then, we've now become into this world of, consumption and consuming and doing whatever you can to just absorb as much information. And as I was preparing for this talk, I found this guy, and I love what he says in this, because basically everyone's trying to figure out what to do about education by doing what we did in the past. And in the past, we used to go to college or uni and get a degree, and then you'd go get a job, except for that doesn't work anymore. In fact, I was told I'd be a great truck driver. Weird. Anyway, here's the big problem. One of the things is that we've just become addicted. We look at our screens and we have to keep checking them over and over again. And I looked at my co-founder, who's also my fiance and the father of my child, and I said, listen, what are we going to do about this? What are we going to do with our daughter? Are we just going to shove her an iPad in front of her? And he says, my daughter can have an iPad when she puts it together herself. So something like this, perhaps. And that made me think, and I was like, well, what are we going to do with the work that we do? Because actually there's something to this that, we teach kids by enabling them with this amazing knowledge transfer. But then there's this also big problem, and this skills problem, and everybody's freaking out because there's like this shortage of cyber skills. You guys heard about this? And now government, after 2 years of me banging on their door to finally get them to take this seriously, are finally throwing money at this big skills problem, yeah? But here's the thing. I've only worked at one company in my life, the Walt Disney World Company, and if anything, I learned that kids do not like to be patronized, and they will see right through when you sell them something versus something they buy into themselves, right? Authenticity, being genuine, these are things that kids innately understand. Maybe not ethics right off the bat, because that's a learned skill, but one thing that we have to do is turn these little tech-addicted minions into cyber warfare, our armies for cyber warfare, because the future will not look like the big guy with the guns, right? The future will be the guy in the back with the computer. And so looking at things differently has to change. And so my answer to how we look at this was hacking, right? I got really into cybersecurity, and I wasn't going to call it some polished security company. I wanted to call it exactly as it was, Hacker House, of the hackers, by the hackers. So when I say hacking, what do you guys think of? Creepy crawlers, yeah? Guys with hoodies, sit in the basement, don't talk to each other, eat pizza pockets, right? Something like this. And when I ask people, what do you think of hackers, like at every single one of my talks, I always get this like, yeah, hackers are cool. And then I get this, whoa, welcome to the party. And then we all look at, and then we all think about the movies we've seen, and we're like, yeah, that was a cool movie. Angelina Jolie's totally hot. And then we think about the scary mask that gets associated with this, and the demonization of this, guy in the hoodie, right? Because all good superpowers come to those who wear hoodies. And I sit there and I'm like, wait a minute, let's go one step further. What's the stereotype that you think hackers are? No, we don't hack Instagram. And no, we're not going to hack your games. And I'm definitely not interested in hacking your Snapchat. But poor Facebook. Like on a daily basis, I get emails. Can you please hack my boyfriend's Facebook? And I mean, their security team must be off the charts, like swamped with vulnerabilities, because this happens on a daily basis. Cracks me up. And no, I'm not going to teach you black hat services. Not interested. And I'm not going to teach you how to steal credit cards, because that's just, well, not cool, right? Even if I did teach you how to steal a credit card, that dude's just going to call up the company, have it canceled, and there you go. That's a waste of time. Now, we're all human, right? So we all have our idiosyncrasies, and we all have problems like this. And this cracks me up too, because everybody always asks me to be able to hack their boyfriend's email. Now, what this one cracks me up is because they wanted it for free. And I thought, no, not only is it criminal, I'm definitely going to charge you for that. And then the other thing that happens is they always, because boyfriends cheat, girlfriends cheat, it's part of life. We all get insecure at a time. This girl sent me an email and then quickly followed up with, and can you teach me how to learn? Which I thought was funny. And I was like, wait a minute, no, message. We got to change this around. Listen, hacking is not a bad word, right? You got to turn this upside down. Think of it differently. Hackers, to the very root of what this means pursuit of knowledge. Hackers are stealthy. They are data focused. They are driven. Oh my gosh, put some of the craziest minds together and see what they come up with. We also have cool offices. But the big part of our culture is to break things apart, is to understand how they work. So I'm not going to just stick an iPad in front of your face and tell you, oh wow, isn't she so tech-enabled? The reality is I want you to understand how that computer works. Go build one yourself. Go write your own code. Write your exploits. Don't know how to do it? We'll show you. So this is what we do. We analyze signal frequency analysis. We take apart car alarm systems, home alarm systems. We try to teach you how to send packets to space. You think everyone's excited about cyber? Just wait till they jump on that space train that's coming. This is the future of jobs. I know it was all doom and gloom, from the very beginning about AI, but actually there's a lot of cool stuff that we are building. We fly and print our own drones. We test wireless communications. We look at SDR because, guys, the reality is the internet and the insanity is doing it over and over again. So what we're trying to do is actually empower organizations. We'll train you up inside. We don't want to be another consulting firm. We did it because that's what was the easiest route to market. Because when you have a name like Hacker Health, you'd be surprised how many people get scared. So we sat there and we're like, all right, here we are. We offer your testing services. But what I'm really interested in is helping you guys learn how to do this yourselves. Because 90% of this hacking stuff is easy. You just have to understand how it works. So, and one of the best ways that I can show you how to do this is think about it like hacking pirate ships, right? There's all different kinds of ways to attack a ship. There's all kinds of ways to get inside a computer. And if you think about these two ships being lined up against each other, there's all different ways to, attack another from one ship to another. You can swing across the top mast. You can actually throw knives from one ship to another, although I wouldn't recommend that. You can start shooting guns, or think of an exploit like firing a cannon from one port into another port. One port on a ship could be the maid's chambers, and that's the file server. Another port is the kitchen. That's the mail server, right? So what we do is we break down this hairy, scary task. Maestro, if you can figure it out. And the sound can come down a bit. What we try to do is break down some of this scary stuff. So when I say a terminal, and it has green and black numbers, you aren't sitting there freaking out because it looks like computer jargon that you've never seen, right? The training courses we are endorsing actually help empower you, yourselves, and your organizations to understand. So here we are. We start with an Nmap scan. Nmap, what the hell is that? Basically, you run a scan on your computer to look at what ports are there. Some are open, some are listening, some run from emails, some are file servers. We run Man Nmap as a way to teach you how to look up things inside your computer. So it's like a Google for your hacking terminal, right? It's easy to look at what scripts are being used, how they're used, etc. Everyone loves this crazy word called brute force, right? What the hell does that mean? Brute force is a way, an attack. It is an attack to enumerate or to take out usernames and passwords. It's very important that if you can run a brute force on your computer, that some other guy halfway across the world can also run a brute force, and they can extrapolate your usernames and your passwords. So in this case, we walk you through how to do such that. Now everyone thinks I'm teaching you to be a criminal, but actually it's really important that if you get an email that says default passwords or webmail, you learn how to change them, right? And you have to see where you are vulnerable. Another huge vulnerability that happens is is with this thing called Heartbleed. It's a vulnerability in an SSL, right? So it's another way to extract usernames and passwords. So let's say you're being all clever and you change your password from not a default, but to something else, as we see right here with Jenny. Well, we can still run this attack and get in as Jenny and steal her credentials. Now, this is something really important. Organizations have to get in the practice. You have to get in the practice of doing this because it is you ultimately that are using devices and connecting everything in your home. This is why we are so keen to make sure you can kill it. You make sure that you understand how, here we go again. Because the internet gives you access to everything, and it also gives it access to you. And everyone is prone to human weakness. So what is smart? Some dude on Twitter gave me this, and I was like, awesome, I'm going to give you credit in my talk. So anything that is an attack or a potential software that could be used as a ransomware attack. So this is all the devices, essentially. Now, you've got 65,535 ports per device. You've got smart cities, smart cars, if I can change this thing, and smart homes, and you live in this world of the internet of vulnerabilities. Like really, we all are so vulnerable. So if you don't know how to hack, you should absolutely learn. And inside your system, attackers can stay for up to 200 days. Weird, ask any of these guys. So the other thing is phishing. Everybody asks me about how phishing, sorry, this clicker's not making it so easy to switch through. Sometimes when you have attacks, you have what they call a drive-by attack. And a drive-by attack, if you want to get to the next video, is when we send you to a site that everyone likes. What are some of your favorite sites? Amazon, LinkedIn, Facebook, right? And you can start it. When you are sent to these sites, what happens is a bad guy has sent a link in an email for you to download, and that payload automatically starts on your computer. So this is when people say, how the hell do I get hacked all the time? Well, 90% of it is done by a spear phishing attack. And it goes something like this. And I'm showing you this because I need you all to understand that this happens to everyone, not just a few guys, right? So this is our receptionist desk. Here's on our attacker's desk. He's writing an exploit. He's targeting this person. He's saying exactly who he wants to send this email to in the format that he wants to do so. In this case, the receptionist in form of a LinkedIn request. So this is something that happens on a daily basis, and when you are targeted, there's nothing really you can do except for to protect yourself. In this case, she just sees a LinkedIn request, like we all do, from an attacker. She clicks on it. Look, she's got an AV running. Isn't she protected? Not really. Look at the Russian calculator. Gives it all away. In this case, she wasn't directed to the actual profile. She was given this blank screen. Now we go back to our attacker's website, and we actually see that he is now inside this machine. He has planted a shell in her computer. He has what we call a RAT, a remote access tool that is now accessible from her as the receptionist, and it goes back to his computer. So this is what we try to do. We walk through some of the scary bits, because if 90% of us click on links that we're not supposed to, and we're all under potential threat, then there's just no way, no government money, no industry, no one's going to be able to keep up with the amount of people needing these services. So I leave you with this one last note. If we can go back to the main screen, I guess, that I want you all to go home, try this, just try for a second to download the training program or learn some new skills, go take a course online, come join us at Hacker House, whatever it may be, but don't be a victim, because guys, right now, our skills for the future will depend on your ability to embrace, as we've chosen to, this connected world, and we really must not see hacking as a bad thing. Hackers are the internet's immune system, and they're one of the most fundamental skills of the 21st century. And so I encourage all of you to have some fun exploring. Thank you and happy hacking.